These folks got to hear this shit, Saucy.
Right now?
I get falling to no track. Please don't ask me for no hangout on the text, won't answer back. I work hard to be on top, dodging the fall like my ex. I wake up in different places, different cars, get different sex. Really don't play about this shit no more. Fuck what they doing, we ain't losing. I just changed the closet up, the trip got super stupid. Business booming, I just laugh when they think I made this on music. Hated on me the whole time, congratulate me like they knew it. Boys around me had to way out, had to get it on my own. Niggas ain't give me shit, no food up in my plate, not even a bone. Blood get cut up just like Opsy, be switching and moving wrong. My brody got shot by his blood, that's why I always move along. Those enemies ain't fought, them boys is close. If I see that you jealous, I don't want you close. If you telling a bitch, we know you a hoe. They say that they die for you, promise they won't. Them niggas ain't down, them niggas ain't low. Soon as you fall, them boys gon' go. No respect for your bitch, they gon' take where you go. I only stay down for me and I go for me, cause it's only one name on the song. Come out when they be mad, I know they be here. Only worry about the business they pay me. Money for when I'm sleeping, I gotta get to the check, secure the bag. Fuck it, they hate, fuck it, they mad. Love ain't real, it come with a tag. I get falling for no track. Bitch don't ask me for no hangout on the text, won't answer back. I work hard to be on top, dodging the fuck.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Money Man John, what up? Notes. My boy, what's going on? We got 7 people in the building already. Hit the like button as soon as you come in. My name is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV. I appreciate you guys tuning in for the night, man. I'm back at y'all with another live. Of course, we got some things to discuss. You know what I mean? I got a whole bunch of messages coming in right now. My apologies for looking a little bit distracted, but nonetheless, man, we back in the building with some more boxing talk. Of course, you know what I'm saying. We got some things to talk about. Ain't no doubt about it. We got some things to talk about. We're gonna talk about Teofimo. We're gonna talk about Romero. We're gonna talk about that situation they got going on. That we're gonna talk about one of the rumored fights that Gervonta Davis may have lined up, and that is against Frank Martin. Of course, that's not set in stone. That's not anything that we know of yet. So because we don't know that, we're gonna talk about some different options for Gervonta Davis as well, and exactly what he has coming up. You see what I'm saying? So let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. But we got 7 people in the building. Hit the like button as soon as you come in, man. Shout out to the boy Money Man John. Okay, he trains out of Floyd's gym. That's what's up. So you representing Vegas. You know what I mean? That's what's up, man. Not a bad gym to come out of, from what I understand, man. They got some solid dudes in there. And if you do train out of Floyd Gym, tell that boy Carmel Moten I'm trying to bring him on the channel. You know what I mean? Tell that boy Carmel I've been trying to get an interview with him for a while. So we definitely need to chop it up. I need to talk to him. I need to talk to Joanne Ingram. You know what I mean? I need to talk to all them dudes over there. You see what I'm saying? Hold up real quick. Yo, I'm on live. You tell her I'm on live? I'm on live.
Nigga, how long you gonna be on that? Your door is probably so open.
Anyway. Yeah, we definitely need Carmel on the live, though, for sure. 10 people in the building, man. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in right now. To my boy Jay Cash. You see what I'm saying? He said he'll let folks know. That's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? Nothing promised me. I'm not even on talking terms like that. Oh, okay. I mean, if that's the case, then you ain't got to do that, my brother. I don't need you to be getting into no type of confrontation or anything like that, because you trying to look out for me, man. If that's what it is, then just keep it like that. You know what I mean? I don't really want nothing to escalate from that. I don't want to be the reason why y'all could possibly get into something that y'all don't need to be getting into. You feel me? So, it is what it is, man. But let's talk about it, man. We got some people on here, of course. You know what I mean? So let's just talk. Let's chop it up, and let's see where we get from here. You know what I mean? I might have open topics at the end of this live. You see what I'm saying? And just go about it from there. So the first thing we're gonna talk about, let me see. Okay. Let's talk about the whole Teofimo situation with Rolly Romero. You know what I mean? Now, I'm somebody that's been on this channel and said that a lot of things that Teofimo are doing at this very moment is strictly because he's just trying to bring hype around his name. You know what I mean? He's came on live. He's came on on different platforms and said that he be pimping the media. Like I've heard him say this, that he pimps the media and he uses them to his benefit. And I feel like this is no different at all. You know what I'm saying? Obviously he got a fight coming up with Jermaine Ortiz in February, and he's doing everything he can to promote himself, to keep his face on the front page. You know what I'm saying? To keep himself relevant, to keep people talking about him, good or bad. You know what I mean? He's one of them dudes that think that all publicity is good publicity, and you could tell because of all the things that he's been coming out and saying. You know what I'm saying? He's been coming out talking crazy about Terrence Crawford, talking about he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. And now he's even taking shots at Rolly Romero, somebody who we thought he was good friends with. You know what I mean? These guys have been on live together and chopping it up as if they really good friends. I remember one time Shakur and like Hitchinson was arguing with Rolly, and Teofimo happened to be in the same room as Rolly, so they probably was chilling at the same crib. They probably was they probably was over each other's crib, was probably really good friends at one particular time. But I guess since they both champions in the same weight division now, they both looking at each other as possible opponents. Um, and I remember they had been on live at one time, and Rolly was like, "Would you ever fight me?" And Teofimo just like shook his head. I think he said something like, do you ever think about fighting me or anything like that?" Because they was both at 135 at the same time too. And Teofimo shook his head. No, like that's not something that I think about. You see what I mean? So it's just funny how Teofimo pretty much switched the whole approach up with Rolly Romero. You know what I mean? Now he's making it seem like Rolly's food or he's a possible opponent, which I understand at the end of the day, because if Teofimo's goals are to be the undisputed champion at 140 or be the best at 140, then obviously he has to take out the other champions. And although we could debate Rolly Romero being the weakest link at 140 pounds, nonetheless, he's still a champion. You see what I'm saying? So I guess friends turn foe. Like I said in my last video, if y'all didn't see it, go check it out where I provided my opinion on the whole Rolly Teofimo situation. Now, where he had came sideways at Rolly Romero was he had posted up a tweet saying something along the lines of let me bring it up so I won't have to paraphrase anything like that. Let me see. Let's find it right here. Teofimo Lopez. He comes out with, let me see. This was 20 hours ago, so almost a day ago. He says, "Don't worry, at Oscar De La Hoya. If it comes to it, I'll handle this fake champ like I did back in 2017. Hashtag, how dare you disrespect the legend? Hashtag, revenge on Rolly." You see what I'm saying? So he comes out with a post, and in that post is a sparring session that I guess Teofimo had leaked recently. I don't know if this has been actually out here before. I've never personally seen it before. I've seen Teofimo had sparring sessions with like Gervonta Davis that had leaked and things like that. Sparring sessions with Udanis Ugas he done had and things of that nature, but I never seen the Rolly Romero one. And it's just essentially like a clip of him punching on Rolly Romero. Um, Rolly Romero looked like he was doing well, and then he got hit with a mean body shot, and it seemed like Rolly never recuperated for the rest of that video. You see what I'm saying? Um, Note says Rolly just started boxing in that clip. You could tell. We gonna talk about it. We gonna talk about it because I got the numbers available to show that that may be true. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to Money Man John. He says I've never seen it either. I don't think it's been leaked before. Yeah, typically like sparring sessions don't really get by me. You know what I mean? I've seen just about every sparring session that's available to the public right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially amongst these elite guys. I watched a lot of their sparring sessions, studied their films and things of that nature. I never seen that one. But from what I've seen in that small clip, it could be a whole lot of things that could have happened in that situation. We could argue that Rolly looked fatigued from the rip, and maybe He had probably did a few rounds before getting in there with Teofimo. You could make another claim that Teofimo just looked like he was on a completely different level and that Rolly Romero looked green. But from my assessment looking at the video, it seemed like Rolly was doing okay. You know what I mean? He was trying to go tiff it. He was trying to play counterpuncher with Teofimo. And in the process, he got hit with 2 mean body shots back to back. And you could tell that it took a lot. It took all the gas out that boy Tank. You know what I mean? And he looked like he wanted to get out of there after that. It seemed like it took all the fight out of him, and he looked hurt to me. He looked hurt to me, and then Teofimo took advantage of that and landed some big shots to the point where there were people in the background talking about, "Yo, that's it, that's it, that's it." But it seems like Rolly Romero's coach or team or whatever wanted the sparring to continue, so he took a little bit more punishment after that, and then the video cuts. So what I think personally was he got hurt with some body shots and wasn't able to recuperate until, you know what I mean, he wasn't able to recuperate, which is why he got punched on until the round was over. Now, Teofimo self-admittedly in that post claims that that's from back in 2017. So if we doing the math, this was about 7 years ago. You know what I mean? 7 years ago. Doing my research on Rolly Romero, I knew that he was somebody who was new to boxing. He wasn't one of these dudes that came into boxing real young, like a 4 or 5-year-old, and then just been boxing his whole life. Rolly Romero is one of them dudes that started boxing late, actually. You know what I'm saying? And according to the research that I've done, he did not have his first amateur fight until 2013. You know what I'm saying? 2013. They say he has a history of doing like judo or something of that nature. He did some type of martial arts prior to boxing. You see what I'm saying? And even competed in that martial art. You feel me? But in terms of competing, Rolly has not competed in boxing that long. You feel what I'm saying? He started competing in 2013 in amateur boxing. You feel me? So if that clip was from 2017, obviously if you do the math, then he might have been only 3-4 years in at the time facing Teofimo Lopez. Now, if we do our research on Teofimo Lopez, then you would know that he's one of these dudes who's been boxing since he was a baby. You see what I'm saying? From what I remember, if my memory serves me correct, Teofimo Lopez dad was somebody who wanted to get involved with boxing, but I don't know if he got caught up in the streets. I don't know exactly what happened with that whole situation, but nonetheless, he didn't do too much with boxing himself personally, but he did bring his son to the gym, and they claimed that he was a natural at a very young age. He was doing combinations naturally at a young age, and they played it like he was this phenom growing up. So this is somebody who was a lot more experienced than Rolly Romero in that time frame. If so Teofimo is probably like 25, 26 right now. Let's say he's 25, right? And he's been boxing since he was 5 years old. Then that means he has essentially 20 years of boxing experience, 20 years of being in the gym, 20 years of learning his craft. So from 5, okay, so Teofimo 2017, he had to be around 18. Let's say he was around 18. So that's somebody who has 13 years of boxing experience, and we going from 5 to 18. Yeah, I mean 15 years boxing experience from 13 years. I'm tripping. Hold on. 5 to 18, that's 13 years. So we comparing somebody with 13 years, a decade and some change of boxing experience in comparison to somebody who had 4 years of boxing experience. That's a huge difference. That's almost triple the experience. You know what I mean? More than triple. He had at that time he had more than triple the experience that Rolly Romero had. So it's almost like, you know what I'm saying? Why you really patting yourself on the back for this? It's like it's a situation where like you're supposed to do that. You see what I'm saying? You're supposed to beat on that kid like that. You're supposed to have the upper hand. You're supposed to be the better fighter if you've been in the gym that much longer than him. It would have been a sad situation if the tables were turned. You know what I mean? It would have been an unfortunate situation that you had triple the experience this man had and he still be beating on you. So looking at that clip, it's like you're supposed to do that, sir. Why are you so hype about it? You feel what I mean? Another thing that I want to get into from what I understand, like I just said previously, shout out to my boy Slime. He said, shout out to the nation. Yeah, shout out to the nation. Shout out to the mob. I apologize if I did not bring that up in the very beginning. But regardless, let's talk about this. So, like I brought up earlier in this video, from what I understand, Rolly Romero and Teofimo had a good relationship. They had a good friendship. You know what I'm saying? Both of these guys was doing joint interviews together and having a good time, laughing. You know what I mean? Ha ha, kikiing and all that shit, acting like they real good friends. Um, which is confusing to me. I mean, I understand. Like I said, they both champions at 140 right now, so maybe they got some competitive, some competitive energy between each other. You know what I mean? Jordan Scherer says no loyalty between friends these days. Hate this era of clout chasing. We gonna get into that, Jordan. Let me just break this down real quick. So I find it funny that Teofimo claimed to be such good friends with Rolly and things of that nature, but you're defending a man in Oscar De La Hoya. From what I know, y'all wasn't as close as you wasn't as close to Oscar De La Hoya that you was to Rolly Romero. So why are you sticking up for Oscar De La Hoya? You see what I'm saying? Why? Because Rolly Romero had dissed Oscar De La Hoya in the DMs and posted it. Why do you feel like you need to run to Oscar De La Hoya's defense? And I'm gonna tell you exactly why. It's not because he wants to be friends with Oscar De La Hoya. It's not because he is friends with Oscar De La Hoya. The reason why he's actually doing this is because he finds an opportunity to hit those headlines. You know what I'm saying? He did this strictly to pimp the media, as he says, because whenever he says something controversial, the first thing these media guys are gonna do is post it. They're gonna post a video about it. They're gonna create a news article about it. You know what I mean? And that just makes him more relevant at the end of the day because they keep talking about him. So let's not get it confused. He's not there to really defend Oscar De La Hoya. He's not there to actually make it seem like what Rolly said was wrong. He's not here trying to correct anybody. He just wants to bring the attention to himself. And why does he want to bring the attention to himself? Because he has a fight coming up against Jermaine Ortiz. And I think he understands, along with everybody else around him, that that's not the biggest fight that everybody's really talking about right now. You see what I'm saying? There's people that's talking about other fights happening. There's not really people. I mean, Teofimo is a name. Let's not get it wrong. But they're not necessarily too excited for this fight with Jermaine Ortiz. So I think everybody has a preconceived notion of exactly what's going to happen during that fight. And I think that Teofimo is a huge favorite in that fight for a reason. You know what I mean? My boy Slime might disagree because, you know what I mean, him and Jermaine came up from the same city or whatever. But if we talking about what everybody else thinks, you know what I mean, what the whole boxing world thinks, what the odds makers, I mean, whatever you want to call them, the bettors, whatever the fuck you want to call them, the odds makers, we all know that Teofimo is more than likely going to win this fight against Jermaine Ortiz, unless Jermaine is able to shock the world and pull out something that we've never seen before in terms of his skill set and ability. That it may turn out different. You know what I'm saying? But I think everybody knows that Teofimo has the upper hand in this fight. He's extreme. He's a lot more athletic than Jermaine. He's explosive. He has power, great timing. You know what I'm saying? He has he has it all, man. Teofimo is a good fighter, especially when he's in the right state of mind. When he's actually in there having fun and you know what I mean, being flashy and doing what he needs to do in the ring, just being himself. I think that he's very hard to beat. You know what I'm saying? But he has been beat before, so I'm not acting like this is an impossible thing. But I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Jermaine. You know what I mean? That's what I personally believe. You know what I mean? There's no disrespect on Jermaine at all. I'm still looking forward to having him on my channel and conducting this interview. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm just keeping it a buck at the end of the day. I think that he's a significant favorite for a reason. You know what I mean? So because he's a significant favorite like that, a lot of people not really talking about this fight. A lot of people not really anticipating this fight. A lot of people not really excited for this fight. So what is Teofimo doing? He's overcompensating by giving you things to keep himself relevant, to keep his name in your mouth. You feel me? That's all he's really doing out here. There was somebody that I said, and I mentioned this in the latest upload I put up. They was comparing him. They were saying that he was the Kanye West of boxing. Now they're not saying it because there's people that are considered geniuses or anything like that, is because whenever Kanye West has a sneaker coming out, whenever Kanye West has an album coming out, then more than likely you're gonna expect them to say some outrageous shit on the media or dress in a certain way that's gonna trigger a lot of people and get to talking about Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? He pimps the media. He uses he takes advantage of um he does controversial things and hopes to have the media talk about him in a certain way, because both of these guys, what they share in common is that they believe that all like, how can I say this? All publicity is good publicity. You know what I'm saying? Because you keeping them relevant at the end of the day. So of course Teofimo, he just out here giving you a reason to talk about it. You feel me? He giving you a reason to talk about him. Um and he's gonna say some outrageous things, like call out Terrence Crawford, which he's never done before. You know what I mean? He's gonna disrespect a good friend of his. You feel what I'm saying? To get some attention from the media and his fans. And I'm sure after he fights Jermaine Ortiz, we won't really be hearing anything outrageous until he has another fight date on the way. You feel me? So this is all for clout, honestly, man. This is all attention seeking things that he's attempting to do right now. And I guess it's paying off because I'm talking about it with you right now. You know what I mean? Y'all in the comments talking about it. So obviously what he's doing works. So he's gonna continue to do so. And you can't really blame him because at the end of the day, controversy sells. You feel me? Controversy sells. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? We got 20 people in the building, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in. 21 minutes in with 20 people in the building. Shout out to my boy CJ Gutierrez Boxer. He says Mazuma Mob. What's going on? What's going on? That's a real good friend of this is one of the guys that I train, and he's a real good friend of mine, man. Always looking out for me and making sure I'm good. Real friend. You know what I mean? I just want to say this right here, man. If you got a good friend, you extremely blessed. Because there's not too many great friends out here, man. His name is Chris, by the way. Hell of a fighter. Um, but he's just as great as a friend. Um, if he's a great fighter, he's a great friend as well. You feel me? And it's just something that I feel like everybody needs to have. You know what I mean? If you're able to have one good friend, man, you extremely blessed. You know what I'm saying? Matias didn't turn it down. Let's not lie about that. Let's not lie about that. Notes. I think you need to be more informed on what you're talking about before you make these statements. You feel what I'm saying? If you're not clear by a doctor after an apparent injury on your hand, if you're not clear, then you wouldn't be able to make the fight happen anyway. You know what I mean? I mean, bro, I know exactly what happened. Subriel Matias has an injury that he sustained before the Ergashev fight. He continued to fight with it. You know what I'm saying? And after the fight, he didn't need any surgery or anything like that, but he needed to go through physical therapy and get cleared by a doctor. So typically, when you get an injury, you're suspended by the commission for a while until you're able to show them that you're clear to fight. You see what I'm saying? So he said he made it clear that he wouldn't be able to come back off of this injury until the end of February, March, April type area. You see what I'm saying? I forgot exactly what the time frame was, but the offer that Teofimo made was a time frame before he will be cleared of his injury. You feel what I'm saying? And if the doctor ain't clearing you, just like with Earl Spence, he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao with a detached retina, but guess what? If the doctor don't clear you, then the fight not happening. The fight can't happen if the doctor don't approve it. You feel me? So that's exactly what happened with that, man. He offered him a fight that he wasn't able to fight on due to an injury. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like he turned it down. That's not the situation at all. It's just that he wasn't able to fight. And that's not an excuse or anything like that. It's an unfortunate reality at the end of the day. You feel me? Money Man John says Mazuma a trainer. Yeah, I have a whole stable full of amateurs. You know what I mean? I help train the professional fighters as well. I've been doing this for about seriously, but doing it about 6, 7 years. Yeah, I started really training people in like 2018. So yeah, 6 years. I've been training guys, and I got a I have a solid stable of amateurs, bro. Some of the best amateurs. I probably got one of the best, if not, I definitely got one of the best amateur stables in the city in Philadelphia, and that says a lot because Philly has a lot of great amateur talent. And I genuinely believe that I got one of the best stables in the city for sure. You feel me? So J Cash says controversy indeed does sell. That's a fact. You see what I'm saying? And weren't Tio and them trying to make the fight happen around January after Matias had just fought in November? Yeah, I think it was actually around I think he was trying to make the fight happen in around Super Bowl weekend. So I'm assuming that's February, but regardless, after they made it clear that there was an injury that he had sustained, then they were talking about Teofimo may possibly fight him around Puerto Rican Parade weekend in New York City. You know what I'm saying? So let's see. This is stuff that Teofimo's saying, but at the end of the day, can we really trust somebody like Teofimo who blatantly admits to lying in interviews just to get people's attention? I don't know if you could trust a man with that type of character. You feel what I mean? So we'll just have to wait to see exactly what happens with him. So there's that. Slime says, I'm the best prospect and Mark Jim. Okay. That boy is a clown. Posting clips of your best parts in a spar will always be lame to me. I've seen people look world class in the gym and then fold under them lights. Yes, that's a fact. I know people that look like fucking future world champions in sparring sessions, beat up on pros too. And then when they get inside that ring, they lay eggs. That is a real thing, man. I don't know exactly what causes that. You know what I mean? But I've also seen the opposite. Dudes who look terrible in sparring, and then when they fight, they rise to the occasion. Some fighters that we do know right now get beat up in sparring religiously. You know what I'm saying? And then when they get under them lights, bro, they walk away with world titles. Like, this is stuff that we see. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how that works. But you absolutely right, Jordan. I witnessed that myself several times. Matias is a big problem for Tio. I saw what he did to Malik Hawkins recently. Oh my God, he's gonna be trouble for these dudes. Yeah, that's actually a fight from Subriel that I've watched a lot. How the way it just shows, bro. Like, a lot of these boxers, bro, they don't really be wanting to fight for real. I say this all the time, and people be confused by what I mean by that. What I mean is, a lot of these dudes are extremely content with fighting at their pace or fighting their style. They don't really want to go up against a dude that's going to make them throw their game plan out the window, with had a back against the wall and have to pretty much fight their way out of a situation. They just want to box, bro. They don't want to fight their way out of a situation. And somebody like Subriel, he makes you do things that you're not comfortable with doing. He's gonna make you fight outside of your pace. This man's throwing 80 punches around. If you want to get this man up off you, you might have to match his output. So that's something that may make you feel uncomfortable. Getting hit with shots continuously, that might be something you might have to endure from Subriel, and that can make people uncomfortable as well. Somebody who's taking your best shot and he's continuously coming forward, that could be discouraging as well. See, like Anonymous said, Matias is going to be a big problem for these dudes, bro, for sure. Gary Antoine should fight Subriel and Tio fights Barroso. I think Rolly need to fight Barroso, man. Barroso is the one who got the WBA interim now. So in actuality, he deserves a rematch with the current WBA champion, and that's Rolly Romero. I think Teofimo could get a better fight than that, in all honesty, bro. I think that Tio could definitely fight another champion. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know, but I think Barroso just needs to run it back with Rolly for the WBA world title. That's what I believe. Gary Antoine should fight Subriel. That'll be a hell of a fight. But from what I understand, Richardson Hitchens is about to fight somebody, and that's an eliminator to who could possibly be a mandatory for Subriel this year. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's pretty much going on at 140 right now. But Gary Antoine versus Subriel, that fight's not going the distance for sure. But Gary Antoine hasn't necessarily faced anybody like Subriel. Subriel hasn't faced anybody like Gary Antoine. So it's an intriguing matchup. It's a real intriguing matchup for sure. Tesla says, very grateful for you guys. Salute to the nation. Yo, salute to Tesla, man. One of my most positive supporters for sure, man. I appreciate you very much. Cough, cough. Kevin Johnson, cough. Well, what you guys say about Kevin Johnson? What's going on with him? Oh, yeah, I already know what you're talking about. Yeah. I agree with you. I forgot about that little segment we just talked about. It was crazy. These dudes be calling themselves like sparring champions and shit like that. Like, bro, why do you take pride in being good and just sparring? How about being good in actual fucking fights? You know what I mean, why don't you focus on being a world champion and not a sparring champion? It's like these dudes just be um they be infatuated with the wrong shit. You feel me? I don't be understanding that. Teeth world champ at 75 by early 2025. I hope so, man. I hope so. I wish that kid, I'm not gonna say kid, we the same age. I wish that man um the best of luck in his career, man. He had a sensational knockout in his last fight. And I'm looking forward to seeing him step up in competition and really make a name for himself because that dude work his ass off, man. He work his ass off. And he's a special talent. You see what I'm saying? He's a special talent. And whatever he decides to do with his career, I hope he's able to maximize it to the best of his ability. So shout out to our team, man. I hope he really gets that world title. I hope he dominates that division in the years to come. Hopefully he makes the right moves, keeps his head on straight, and just continue working. You know what I'm saying? But he's smart enough to know that he should be fine. He got good sparring clips with pros, but not making a name for himself or fighting anyone good that I know of right now. Yeah, I never really even, the only time I've ever even heard of Kevin Johnson was from his sparring sessions. You know what I'm saying? I never heard of him for what he's done inside the ring, only for what he's done at the gym. You know what I'm saying? Anonymous says, yep, IBF. Yep, IBF eliminator. Yep. So that's interesting. Jordan Scherer says Subriel's volume and durability is a problem for every 140 fighter right now. The fact he is being as vocal as he is and still no one mentioned his name speaks volumes. That's a fact, bro. And if they do bring up his name, they like it's like only like a brief conversation, you know what I mean? Like people just brushing him off and things of that nature. But I think people understand Subriel for the threat that he is, so they're not in any real rush to fight him. You feel me? I seen Bill Haney bring him up, but he got caught in a lie, in my opinion. I've seen Teofimo say he can knock him out, and it'll be a really easy fight for him. He'll knock him out in 4 rounds. But I mean, if that's the case, then why not just forget about the Jermaine fight and fight Subriel? You know what I mean? Like, since when has Jermaine been a bigger fight than Subriel Matias? You feel me? Ain't no disrespect to Jermaine at all, but what's a bigger fight? A guy with 100%, almost 100% knockout ratio and carries an IBF world title, or a man in Jermaine Ortiz who lost his biggest fight of his career so far and is moving up in weight for a world title shot? Which one seems more intriguing? It's Subriel. You feel me? And I think if he was that easy of a fight, then he would have done everything he could to try to take that IBF title by now. You know what I mean? So we know Cat when we see it. You feel me? Anonymous says Hitchens is fighting Daniel Lemos. I think that's how you say his name. I think he's number 8 in the IBF rankings. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I never heard of dude. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna have to do some research on him and see exactly what he brings to the table. But Hitchens, he in a different zone right now, bro. He's been making good statements at 140. Well, big statements at 140. He's making fights look easy against relatively solid fighters. And you can tell he's getting more confident as he continues to win, which is a great sign as well. So Hitchens, he might be a problem for these guys in the future. I ain't gonna lie to you. People say Subriel name and the lights flicker like a horror movie. That's almost what it seemed like. You know what I'm saying? And just like them horror movies, you know what I mean? He done caught a body. So I think a lot of people pay attention to that, and that's why they find him to be a threat. And what makes Subriel kind of different is that, usually when these fighters catch bodies and stuff like that, bro, it's like their whole mentality changed and they be scared to hit dudes. With Subriel, that man literally caught a body and his mind frame didn't change at all. Mind frame didn't change at all. Continued to be himself and continue to try to hurt people, threatening to put people in the hospital and things of that nature. It's like his mind frame never switched. We've seen fighters hurt guys, and they never want to do that again. It's a traumatic experience for them. Um, Subarel is still in that zone where, like, all right, I did that, but you know what I mean? Like, this is like he's really like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, he really has no problem doing that again to somebody. I seen him do an interview and he said something along the lines of like, "Yeah, it's a sad situation, but you know what I mean, it easily could have been me." You see what I mean? So he pretty much said, "Rather you than me." You feel me? That's the type mentality he got, and that's a scary mentality to have because these dudes be talking like they killers and shit like that. But Super L showing you that he really on that. You feel me? So that's a dangerous man with a dangerous mentality. You feel me? And it's just that simple. You know what I mean? So that's just what I think about him. He's just a dangerous dude. Um, no matter how you cut it, he's a dangerous dude. Somebody gonna have to fight him to prove that he not. Anonymous says, I always check the rankings when I don't know their names like that. Artem Harutanyan, dude, Frank fought. He was number 6 in the rankings at the time. Okay. Yeah, a lot of the time when these American fighters fight these European dudes is because that European dude is either mandatory or he's ranked high on a sanctioning body most of the time. Because I feel like if they didn't have either or, these Americans wouldn't really care to fight them because they're not really known and they won't get much credit for beating them. You feel me? So Money Man John says, I don't want to say nothing disrespectful, but you supposed to be trying to hurt your opponent. If they, you know what I'm saying, they signed up for it and they knew the risk coming into the sport. That's just how I see it. Yeah, yeah, for sure. But you know that but me and you both know, even though that's the reality of the situation, I agree with you 100%. You know that this current era that we in right now in terms of like people being extremely sensitive, that's a thing. You know what I mean? So although that may be true, not everybody trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But I do agree with you. I do agree with you. Same as Kovalev after one of his opponents passed in the ring early in his career before all of his biggest fights. Yeah, I heard about that too. I heard about that right around the time he had beat up on John Pascal the first time. I didn't even know that about him until they talked about it on HBO for a little bit. It's still a sad case, especially for the fan. It'll always be a sad case. You know what I mean? It sucks. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to see that happen to somebody, but at the same time, every time you step in there, it's a possibility. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't really knock these dudes for wanting to be getting these big paydays for these big dangerous fights that they step into because that might be the last payday they may ever get. You know what I'm saying? That money they might not ever get to spend because it might be uh, a situation where it just gets passed down to their family. They might not make it to see that check. You feel what I mean? And it doesn't happen often, but at the end of the day, it happens. So as long as it's happening, as long as it has happened before, it'll always be a possibility. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's pretty much it, man. I don't know how we got to talking about all of that, but long story short, man, Teofimo do anything for clout, man. Even if it's disrespecting somebody that he had a good relationship with. You feel me? Maybe Rolly was in on it. Who knows? But um, it is what it is. Anonymous says John Pascal impressed me with the performance against Marcus Brown. Kept landing the overhand and got 2 knockdowns and got a stoppage by cut. And you know what was crazy about that? Marcus Brown, um, he gave Badu Jack a nasty cut. Do you remember that? He had fought Badu Jack and he beat up on Badu Jack or whatever, and then he was outclassing Badu Jack, and then they had gotten into like a headbutt, and Badu Jack had a nasty cut. that he moves on from that, gets the win against Badu Jack, and then fights John Pascal, and then he gets a nasty cut from Pascal and gets dominated and things like that. But what a lot of people don't know is I believe John Pascal tested positive for performance enhancement drugs after that fight against Marcus Brown. You see what I mean? I can find it right here. I don't know if y'all found out about that or what. And I was like, yo, that actually makes sense because John Pascal has always had a history of he has always had a history of like fatiguing in fights and things like that. You see what I'm saying? But back in June 3rd of 2021, the ring had came out with an article saying John Pascal tests positive for a fourth banned substance, EPO. Now, if you ever listen to Victor Conti talk about EPO, he said that EPO essentially makes you like a machine. You know what I'm saying? Where like you never get tired. And that makes a whole lot of sense because in that fight, yeah, I got it right here. Look, the ring. John Pascal tests positive for a fourth banned substance, EPO. You feel what I mean? And like I said, he always struggled with conditioning. Always struggled with conditioning. In his career, it seems like he would get tired. You see what I'm saying? Let me see. Yeah, he was supposed to defend his titles. He was supposed to do a title defense against Badu Jack. You know what I'm saying? No, this was hold on. Hold on. Yeah. It made sense though, because I remember watching that fight with Marcus Brown, and I'm like, since when this man had gas in the second half of the fight? Like that's why he had like tough fights with Bernard Hopkins and shit like that. And I remember like Bernard Hopkins saying like you like a 4 round fighter, bro. Like you tired after 4 rounds and stuff like that. And that was something that was repetitive in John Pascal's career. So when I seen him get older and all of a sudden he had gas for the later rounds, I'm like, that's kind of suspicious, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? So I knew something was wrong. Yeah, but yeah, he tested positive prior to it about Badu Jack fight. So they scrapped it. You know what I mean? And then Badu Jack had ended up fighting a last minute replacement. Yeah, EPO, from what Victor Conti says, somebody who's like pretty much an expert at performance enhancement drugs, he said it's like um it produces hemoglobin that gets the oxygen flowing through your bloodstream and stuff like that. He said does it at such like a high level that it essentially makes you a machine to the point where you don't get tired. You feel what I mean? And I'm sure that's something that um Gerald Miller was on, because when we watched Gerald Miller prior to him uh getting caught, it was like that man could throw punches for 12 rounds straight, being 300 pounds, and wouldn't show any signs of fatigue. So that was interesting. You know what I mean? And you could pretty much see it. You know what I mean? These dudes that really be having like real crazy gas tanks and things of that nature, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them was on EPO, but that's just me making an assumption. You know what I mean? I don't have no facts, so I'm gonna just leave that alone. You feel me? We got 21 people in the building, man. Hit the like button as soon as you come in. It is very much appreciated. You feel what I'm saying? My boy Low Nose Boxing is in the building. He said, "Yo, bro, what's good, man? I hope everything's well with you, Low. What's going on?" Um, Let me see. He said, "Dudes disrespect Oscar. Truth be told, Prime Oscar smashes anyone from 135 to 147 today, except Bud." Oscar De La Hoya is an all-time great, man. He's an all-time great. That man ran up like what 6 weight divisions, beat some great fighters, man. Fought the best guys, win or lose. Um, he's he's a Hall of first ballot Hall of Famer for sure, and all around the world, man. Oscar, even though he got his problems outside of the ring, he was a beast inside of the ring. And in terms of smashing anyone from 135 to 147 today, except Bud, I'm inclined to agree with you. You know what I mean? There might be some fighters that may give him some trouble in or around those weight classes, but nonetheless, I think that he'll have an advantage against a lot of the guys that are in today's era. I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? This dude be bugging. Oscar De La Coca says they be disrespecting me even though I got a soft body. You wild for that one. You wild for that one. Yeah, he shot out. Anonymous says Oscar was definitely great. He was when he was fighting. I saw that Fernando Vargas, and man, that was a banger, bro. He punished Fernando Vargas, man. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I am gonna say about Oscar De La Hoya is that a lot of the dudes he usually fought after Tito Trinidad beat him. Shout out to my boy Tito Trinidad. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They be trying whenever they be talking about Fernando Vargas' career, they were like, "Oh, Oscar destroyed Fernando Vargas' career." No, not really, not really, sir. We all know who defeated Fernando Vargas first, and you know what I mean. The reality of the situation is when Tito Trinidad punished a lot of these dudes, they was never the same. You know what I mean? Oscar De La Hoya would pretty much watch Tito try out these guys first, pause. You know what I'm saying? And then De La Hoya will be like, "Oh, all right, this a good this is a fight that I can actually win," and then he'll go try it. Same thing with Yuri Boy Compass, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yuri Boy Compass. Low Nose Boxer says Oscar beat Ike Corte. Ike Corte today will be highly ducked. And there's a lot of people who debate whether he actually beat Ike Corte or not. You know what I'm saying? Uh, there's people that believe Ike beat De La Hoya. So you might be right. That's still wild to me. Conti has a job distributing supplements. A dude that's been caught before giving substances to athletes and boxers before is allowed to still make supplements, bro. This is why these YouTubers are able to box and get away with it and make millions of dollars, bro. It's a huge loophole in boxing that a lot of people could take advantage of, bro. You know what I mean? I feel like only boxing would allow that. I don't think the NBA will allow somebody like Victor Conti in their sport. I don't think the NFL would allow anybody like Victor Conti in the sport. We know for damn sure that MLB ain't letting nobody like Victor Conti come into their sport. You know what I mean? What's the loop? The loop that I'm speaking of is like the fact that it's so easy for people to partake in the sport of boxing. Like, I mean, you in the boxing game, I don't know if you're a professional, I don't know exactly what your background is, but what I do know that is you're a part of the game, right? It's extremely easy to become a professional boxer. You know what I'm saying? There may be some things that will get people to turn down your licensing or whatever, but like let's say I want to turn pro, right? Let's say if it's a situation, bro, all I literally have to do is pass a physical, pay a fee for the license. You know what I mean? And they'll give me my pro boxing license right there. And all I need is a promoter to put me on one of their cards and match me with an opponent. It's pretty simple to join the professional ranks, bro. I've seen people with zero amateur fights turn pro with relative ease. There's not really no steps involved, no hard, sophisticated steps involved to become a professional fighter. Uh, there's no rules in place where like people who have done a lot of harm to the sport, the only one I can really think of is like Louis Rusto. You know what I mean? I think Louis Rusto isn't allowed in boxing no more for what he done. If you know the story, then you know. But a lot of people get a lot of passes. You know what I mean? A lot of people get a lot of passes. Victor Conti showed Shane Mosley how to inject steroids in his bloodstream, and somehow he did fed time, comes back out with a supplement company, and all of a sudden boxing is welcoming him back into the sport. I don't understand how these things actually happen, but like I said, I think boxing is the only sport where Victor Conti will be able to be successful in because it's just a huge loophole in this system. There's no real structure in this boxing system. There's a lot of corrupt shit going on in the sport of boxing, but um there's a lot of corrupt shit going on. There's really no structure in boxing. You feel what I'm saying? It's not like the UFC where everything's with one belt under one guy who does all the matchmaking and he's in control of every aspect of what's going on. It's like, bro, there's so many different people that they got they hat in boxing, and there's so many different people you got to talk to make a fight happen, and there's all these different networks and all these different bro, it's just so much that's going on, bro. It's like boxing is just it's a real difficult sport to partake in and actually do business in. That's why a lot of these dudes, they a lot of these investors, they be in boxing for a little bit. They see how corrupt and how messed up it is, and then they just pull out. Why you think Showtime and HBO and all these dudes dipping, bro? They don't want to deal with this shit no more. For real, the zone gonna be on their way out too. You know what I'm saying? They gonna be on their way out too. Um they went from what being $10 a month to being like 20 something dollars a month now. You know what I'm saying? They was coming up like, oh, the pay-per-view thing, pay-per-view is dead. And all of a sudden they making people pay $20 a month for their subscription, then charging you for a pay-per-view. That's how you know that they trying to recoup all that money they done lost in this damn sport. You feel what I'm saying? A Sing, he sends a $5 super chat, man. Shout out to my boy. He says, do you believe Boots could beat Tim Tszyu? Do I believe he could beat Tim Tszyu? Yes, I do believe he could beat Tim Tszyu. I understand that Tim Tszyu is a big 154 who's going to be at 160 pretty soon. But in terms of the styles, I think that Boots can beat Tim Tszyu. I think his speed, his boxing ability, his athleticism, I think who Boots naturally is will give Tim Tszyu a lot of problems. Boots can be very elusive as well. Yeah, I mean, he's just the full package, man. I just feel like if you can't spark Boots or land, or if you can't knock Boots out, I think you're gonna have a very difficult time trying to keep up with him. This is a man who comes in phenomenal shape, has power. That's another thing. He's a very slept on power puncher for some reason. He has, as high as his knockout ratio is, I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about his power. He's a big puncher. He's extremely fast. He has great reflexes. He's hard to hit. He could box on the inside. He has a great jab. He could box on the outside. Um, he could walk you down and beat you up. He could take you for a walk around the ring and showcase ring generalship or whatever you need, bro. Jerron Ennis is the truth, man. And for somebody to beat Jerron Ennis, they got to be a great fighter in themselves. And I think that somebody like Tim Tszyu is too straight up and down for somebody like Jerron Ennis. You know what I mean? I think Jerron Ennis will style all over Tim Tszyu. You know what I mean? Unless Tim Tszyu hitting with a great shot that Jerron Ennis isn't able to avoid somehow, or whatever the case may be. But with Tim Tszyu being as aggressive as he is, I think he runs into a lot of shots against somebody like Boots. And I think that throughout the course of that fight, he'll start to deteriorate, and Boots may end up stopping Tim Tszyu. That's just what I personally believe. You know what I'm saying? But they both champion right now. You feel what I mean? And they separate weight divisions, and that may be a fight that may be possible further down the line. Boots said that he might finish his career at 160, 168. You know what I mean? And Tim Tszyu, he's not really old or anything of that nature, so he may be available when Boots gets up to that weight. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's a great fight nonetheless. You know what I mean? It's a great fight. You feel me? Boots undisputed once Bud vacates. There's been a lot of speculation as to whether Bud is gonna vacate or not. You know what I'm saying? They said that he might give up the WBC title, and that'll move Barrios up to the WBC champion, and that could be a good unification fight for Jerron Ennis. You feel what I'm saying? So we just had to wait and see. But I think that Boots will definitely clean up the division once Bud gets rid of them titles, or if he actually fights Jerron Ennis. I mean, that could be a great that could be another opportunity for Boots to really prove how good he is. If he were to beat Bud, that would be sensational. I heard a rumor that Crawford is now trying to pursue a fight with Zoo. That's something that I've heard as well. I think his coach Bernie was like on Mill City Boxing or whatever, and he was talking about the possibility of Bud fighting Tim Tszyu. That's a fight that I've been calling for ever since Bud beat Earl Spence. You know what I mean? I said I didn't want to see the rematch, and there's some great fights that he can make happen at 154 pounds. You feel what I'm saying? He said himself that he's having trouble making 147, so he would like to go to 54. You know what I mean? I think him and Tim Tszyu will be a great fight. That'll be a great fight. which I'll have Terrence Crawford winning as well. Money Man John, I don't know why he would when he got boots. Huh? I think people don't talk about Mikey Garcia's power enough as well. He dropped Orlando Salido with a jab twice in that fight, getting a stoppage. That fight was fire. Well, with Orlando Salido ended up going to the scorecards, it was a technical decision. He didn't knock out Orlando Salido. They had got Salido had hit him with a head, but Mikey Garcia nose had broke, and I think since it went past the fourth round, it had went to the scorecards, and then Mikey was able to get a technical decision. But Mikey at 126 and 130, even 135, he was a devastating puncher, man. He even had respectable power at 47. I've seen him rock Jesse Vargas and shit like that. But Mikey Garcia in those smaller weight classes was an animal, especially 126 and 130. He was a fucking animal. You know what I'm saying? He a first ballot Hall of Famer too, one of my most favorite fighters of all time. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to meet Mikey. He a 4 division world champion, man. And like Sandor Martin beat him and shit like that, but that was a Mikey Garcia who was already out the door for real. Seemed like after Earl Spence, he lost a lot of motivation. You see what I'm saying? But Mikey Garcia was somebody who never really liked boxing, that he was just good at it. You know what I mean? He had walked away from boxing before when he went into that dispute with Top Rank and shit like that. But he came back motivated. You know what I mean? Made a lot of money. Mikey Garcia was an underrated businessman in the sport of boxing. I think he made like $6 million to fight Jesse Vargas on the zone. He was going all over to these different platforms, as taking advantage of being a free agent. And he did some sensational things, man. I would have loved to have seen Mikey fight Loma. I would have loved to have seen him really get into it with them top guys at 135, man. I think that he would have beat a majority of them. And he got some good wins on his resume, too, whether we talking about Rocky Martinez. I think he beat Juanma Lopez, Orlando Salido, Zlat Tishinin. That was a hell of a knockout, Jordan Sheriff. Yeah, they had that man with an oxygen mask on and all. Adrian Broner. I love the Robert Easter fight that he had. Sergey Limpinets. That was a great performance as well. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Nose, we gonna get to that, bro. Well, I'm just talking about Mikey right now. Mikey Garcia, he had some great performances, man. One of my favorite fighters ever. Love watching Mikey Garcia fight. I love that Adrian Broner fight. How the way he humbled that man. That was a great fight for sure. But yeah, we about to close up this live, so let's talk about Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis, like No said right here. Let's really get into it. Now, I'm not going to speak too much on this because as of right now, this is a rumor. This isn't something that I actually seen being solidified. You know what I mean? This isn't something that they've announced yet. PBC has been pretty quiet since they announced that they were partnering up with Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? PBC on Prime. Let me see. They've been pretty quiet. There's been some rumors that I've heard that I'm gonna keep to myself, but those of y'all who know, you feel what I mean? But for the most part, they haven't really come out and say anything. But one of the biggest rumors that Tank Davis is having right now is that he may possibly face Frank Martin. Now, I think Frank Martin did come out and say that he had a big fight in the works. And if y'all listen to what I've said in the past, I was saying that Frank Martin may have pulled out of the negotiations with Shakur Stevenson because he already had the notion that he was going to get a shot against Gervonta Davis. You feel what I'm saying? Maybe he turned down that fight with Shakur Stevenson, not because he was scared or because the bag wasn't right, but because he had a bigger opportunity in front of him, which was Gervonta Davis. So essentially, he had to choose between Tank or Shakur. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, the fight had gotten pushed back with Gervonta due to legal issues and things of that nature, but this might be his opportunity to fight Gervonta now in March. You know what I mean? I heard it was March 30th for that fight. I don't know exactly if that's true or not. It may be a little bit further down the line, as far as I know. But regardless, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's actually a step-up fight for Gervonta. You know what? And I say that because Frank Martin isn't the typical flat-footed Hispanic guy that Gervonta has been facing in the past. He's a lot better than a guy like Hector Garcia. He's a lot more skilled than a guy like Rolly Romero or anything like that. Frank Martin is somebody who comes in top shape. He has power. He could box. You know what I'm saying? He sets traps real well. Nice pull counter. You see what I mean? He's a southpaw. You know what I mean? He has some athleticism to him. He's explosive. There's a lot of things to respect about somebody like Frank Martin. So he might have Gervonta thinking more than the average guy that Gervonta Davis faces at this point in time. So I ain't gonna lie to you. I actually like the possibility of them fighting. But at the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? So there may be some other guys that Gervonta Davis may be contemplating, maybe a Rayo Venezuela, which is a fight I really don't care to see, honestly. You know what I mean? Isaac Cruz was another name that had came up consistently. I don't care for that fight. We have already seen Gervonta dominate that kid with one hand. So why the fuck when I want to see him fight Isaac Cruz with two? You know what I mean? It really don't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Mark, did you see when Roman Martinez dropped Mikey early? That was crazy. Yeah, it was like a flash knockdown. And he had looked over at his corner like, what the fuck just happened? But then he got in his bag and he beat the dog shit out of Roman Martinez. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Mikey was an animal, man. Safe to say, Mikey was an animal. Hall of Fame worthy fighter, but had no business at 147. Yeah, I just think that he was feeling himself. I think he was extremely confident. I think that he saw something in Earl Spence that he felt like he could take advantage of. I think it was one of those situations where he looked outside the ring and was like, yo, I could beat him. And then went in there and was like, oh, okay, it's totally different. You see what I mean? Maybe he overestimated his abilities. He didn't respect weight classes, and then ultimately that bit him in the ass. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Earl beat Mikey like he owed him money. Yeah, he kept Mikey off balance, man. Earl was punching the entire time. He never allowed Mikey to set his feet. He never allowed him to be first. It looked like Mikey was just overwhelmed. You feel me? He just looked like he was overwhelmed. Frank Martin might get gunshot because of the experience difference. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying because Frank Martin hasn't really been under lights that have been as bright as the lights that Gervonta Davis has been under. You know what I mean? It hasn't been this much attention on him. You know what I mean? That's something that Tank is accustomed to at this point, being in like fights where a lot of eyes are on him. So this is definitely going to be Frank Martin's moment of truth. We're going to really see where his mental strength is at, how he's able to adapt under them lights. There's going to be a lot of questions about Frank Martin that's going to be answered that night if the fight happens. You know what I mean? Because as of right now, he looks like the goods. You know what I mean? I love this performance against Michelle Rivera. You feel what I mean? So yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to seeing it if the fight were to happen. Is it the biggest fight I want Gervonta in? No, I've told you the exact fights I wanted to see him in, but I'll settle for Frank Martin in this instance. You know what I mean? Because it's not the worst fight to be made. I'll definitely take it over Rayo. I'll definitely take it over Isaac Cruz. You feel me? So it is what it is. My boy Ralph says, I hope that fight happens. I want to see what tricks Tank can pull out of his bag and if he can make adjustments to the style that Frank brings. That's a fact. You know what I mean? You're gonna see Tank thinking on a different level because Frank Martin is a more difficult fighter to deal with, and he's a notch above a lot of these guys that Gervonta has been facing. So it may be a tougher obstacle. So we're gonna have to see. We might see Gervonta pull something out the bag that we've never seen before. Because we don't really know what these fighters are really capable of until they end there with high level opposition. You know what I mean? Because fighter A may have something in his bag that we don't even know about, a style that we may never know about this guy because he's never had to use it because he's been facing low tier opposition. But once he goes up against a top tier level guy, you know what I mean, he might have no choice but to pull the rabbit out the hat. You feel me? So, you know what I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how Gervonta Davis responds to being in there with that style of fighter. Because as far as I'm concerned, Gervonta hasn't fought anybody with the abilities that Frank Martin has at this point in his career. Frank Martin fighting Tank will definitely redeem his stock after that Shakur fight pullout. I think it's I'm not gonna say that completely. I think it depends on how he performs against Gervonta Davis. Like if he makes it a good competitive fight, uh, it'll definitely redeem his stock. But let's say it's a situation where he gets sparked early by Tank. Let's say Tank spark him in 2-3. We're gonna be like, oh, yeah, man, Frank Martin, we should have known he was overrated. That's why he ducked Shakur. You know what I mean? I think his stock will go down the drain. I think it depends on the performance that he puts up. I think it depends on the performance he puts up, man. Like if he gives, let's say it's a fight where him and Tank go to a split decision and Tank wins, they're gonna be like, oh, yo, Frank really the truth, man. I wonder how he'll do against Shakur. Oh, he's actually, I think he's top 5 lightweights right now. Ain't nobody give him the problems that nobody ever gave Tank the problems that Frank gave him. I think it all depends on how he looks. You feel me? Santa Cruz don't fight nothing like Frank Martin, bro. Knock it off. They pose two totally different things. Nigga had all the reasons to fight my son Corey. I agree with you, but what I'm saying is he might have been given the option to fight Gervonta and was like, yo, I think Gervonta Davis is a bigger situation. And that's probably why he came up to Shakur and was like, yo, can you offer me a little bit more money? You know what I'm saying? And when Shakur was like, yo, bro, I'm offering you 4 times more than you ever made in your entire career. What you want a little bit more bread for? Gervonta and them probably offered him a bag that surpassed the one that Shakur was trying to give him. Who knows? We don't know. You feel what I mean? But it seems like Tank and Frank Martin is next up, man, from how the way they talking. If he pulls a Charlo, he might as well retire. Damn. Frank said he wanted a little, yeah, I remember that. But yeah, man. Yeah. So that's essentially what's going on in the boxing world right now, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. You feel what I mean? Teofimo out here disrespecting his own mans to get some type of attention. You know what I mean? Frank Marlin and Tank Davis may be the next fight that's up right now. My boy shaking his head. I don't know why, but obviously he's not happy with the sport of boxing right now. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing we can really do about that. You gotta be patient with this sport, man. You know what I mean? There's been times where I've been extremely impatient with the sport of boxing. You know what I mean? Because there was a point where we had several years without having any type of really good fights. You know what I mean? And 2023 has been a big blessing to us, and how the way 2024 is looking right now. I think there's gonna be some huge fights that be made this year as well. So I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never given up on the sport of boxing, man. It's all good. You know what I mean? We just gotta keep I think what we need to do, that one of the biggest things we could do to really help change the sport is change the fans' mindset. You feel what I mean? Not these man lovers. You know what I mean? Not these dudes who have crushes on fighters and don't really care about boxing. They just care about the individual fighter. As long as we able to change one mindset at a time to just making us understand that we deserve more and holding fighters accountable for fighting the other best guys, I think this sport could be okay. You know what I mean? And I feel like each time I come on here, I'm helping push boxing in the right direction. You feel what I'm saying? There's a lot of channels that do the same thing. So, and there's power in numbers at the end of the day. So hopefully we just keep, you know what I mean? Hopefully we just keep changing these guys' mindset. You know what I mean? And hopefully we could see some real big change in the sport of boxing so we can see how great the sport actually is. You feel what I mean? So Reese says Jamal punching a hole in Canelo chest. I don't know about all that. I don't know, man. I don't trust that boy. I don't trust that boy character, man. I think they respect Canelo too much. We won't really know until like the press conferences come up and things like that. But yeah, we just gonna have to wait and see. I hope Jamal put a beating on Canelo, but I don't know. I think that's far fetched at this moment, man. I think that he catching Jamal at the right time. You feel me? That's what I think. But all right, man. That's my live for today, y'all. I've been on here for an hour and some change, man. I appreciate everybody that was on. We got 21 people in the building. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hit the like button as soon as y'all come out. I am very much appreciative for everybody that came by and chopped it up with your boy on the live, man. Shout out to the nation. Shout out to the mob. Shout out to my boy Slime, Ralph, Ree, Notes, Anonymous, Money Man John. You know what I'm saying? I believe I already said Ralph. Let me see. Who else? Who else? Jordan Sheriff. I probably already said anonymous, but you know what I'm saying? Everybody else. Jay Nar. Oscar De La Coca. Shout out to everybody that was on here, man, participating in the live. It is very much appreciated. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get up out of here. I hope everybody has a blessed, beautiful night. You feel what I'm saying? Money Man John says, good talks, y'all. Can't wait for the next. Yeah, I'll definitely be on live soon, man. So, damn. Okay. Yeah. I back that statement 1,000%. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Y'all have a blessed night. I holler at y'all, man. Peace.